After a brief hiatus, the Europa League group stage is back for its fifth match day. Two more match days, and the group stage is finished. It's coming down to the nitty gritty in this Group F between Midtjylland, Braga, Red Star Belgrade, and Ludogorets. So this week, Red Star takes on Ludogorets, Bulgarian representative. I went over their history in my previous post and what they've done in the last 10 years or so, where they've been a consistent participant in the Europa League and even Champions League. They are coming to Belgrade with a lot of injuries, excuse me, to some key players. So they're going to be very short-handed. Red Star, on the other hand, has some nicks and knocks to their players. Sonogo we don't know about yet. He's probably not going to start. Empty stadium, only kids 14 and under will be able to come, as there was some things that happened at the end of the Midtjylland match where there was stuff thrown at the referees, and UEFA banned fans for one match. So the bans now work if you have a fan ban, if you want to call it that, supporters ban, whatever. 14-year-old kids allowed to show up, so 14 and under. So it's going to be all kids at the match. Looking ahead to the starting lineup, again, Milan Borjan, back from duty with Team Canada, did extremely well. 2 wins, 2 big wins for Canada. The back line, there's going to be some new faces in there due to the suspensions of Degenek and Gobelic. So Dragovic will start at center back. Gajic will be the right back, and Rodic will be the left back. The second center back, I really don't know if Stankovic is going to go with either Pankov or Rakovic. Most of the predictions that I've kind of read, it's probably going to be Pankov. Again, it wouldn't shock me if he does go with Rakovic in that position. Just wouldn't surprise me if he even went with Sonogo from what we've seen, in recent history. But I think he's going to go with a little bit more veteran experience in Pankov. The defensive midfielders, again, I said Sonogo, I don't think he's going to play. He hasn't practiced much. He practiced, I believe, today, so just ahead of the match. So it's probably going to be a pivot of Kanga and Njegoš Petrovic, who has been playing more and more, and he's someone I've talked about numerous times on my vlogs as someone who should get more playing time, even if Red Star wants to sell him, to kind of boost his price a little bit. Personally, I would keep him. I feel like I'm on an island when I talk about Petrovic, because I just don't think that he's as bad as people make him out to be. The front four, I expect to see Ivanic, Kataj, Ben, and Pavkov. Rishari Ožiković has been given a chance. He got subbed off really early in their last match. I can't remember off the top of my head who they played this past weekend, but he got subbed off. Mladen Slučani it was. So he got subbed off in the 20th minute. Stankovic said right after the match, look, it's just he's not motivated enough to play. And, as a manager, you can only give certain players so many chances to kind of prove themselves, and he really hasn't taken any of them. He's very nonchalant. He just doesn't look like he's engaged in the match. He scored against India last week in a cup win, 1-0. India now plays in the lower tier, but it's still, he was just nowhere to be really seen the entire match. And questions are going to be asked because he's on a hefty salary. He hasn't produced at all. He's been injured a bit. He's had the coronavirus. I get it, but even when he's played, he just hasn't shown enough. And a lot of this goes, we as fans sometimes talk about players, why they don't get playing time. Look, we don't really know what happens in training, how hard guys go in training, if they even try. There's a reason why some players don't play, and there's a reason why guys like Srnić, when someone is out, he's almost the first guy that Stankovic has on his starting 11 match sheet. It's because probably he gives it his all, even in training, and that's something that we're gonna have to kind of get used to. Felipe Falco, don't know what's going on with him. Don't know really what's going on with Diony either. Ben, by default, is in the starting position. He hasn't been that great either, but there's just really no one else you can kind of throw out there, unless you were to move the Kanga to the number 10 there, and you have Kataj and Ivanic on the wings. And the question is, who do you start Stanic with Njegoš Petrovic? I wouldn't do that just because they haven't played much this season separately, and they haven't played together at all, I don't think. Like literally a minute, I don't think they played together. Pavkov is the only answer up top. There's really no one else. Diony hasn't really fulfilled anything in his loan spell here. Lazetic again is still young. I doubt he's going to start the match. So very important match for Red Star. You win this, you're not definitely through, but depending on what happens in the Midtjylland and Braga match. But look, Midtjylland is a very quality side, and I think we saw that in Belgrade as well. They can very well beat Braga, and that's taking nothing away from Braga. I think Braga is the best team in this group. But would it shock anyone if they did beat Braga, and then Red Star has to travel to Portugal, and they literally have to beat Braga and hope that Midtjylland loses to Ludogorets. So see how the group is really complicated right now. But if Red Star does beat Ludogorets tomorrow, which I expect to happen, it's a prediction. The only result that doesn't suit Red Star is a Midtjylland win against Braga. So a draw is fine. Red Star is on 9 points, and Midtjylland is on 7, or it might be 7 and 5. I can't remember right now exactly. But yeah, there's still everything to play for in this group. From the number 1 seed to the second. Again, the second seed kind of goes into like a preliminary round or something like that. So we'll see what happens with that going forward. But Red Star, if they win, and if Midtjylland does anything but win, are guaranteed to go through. And then that last match, they'll be kind of fighting with Braga to see who does finish first in the group and who finishes second. I want to see a little bit more from some of our attacking players with the likes of Kata, who's been in a little bit of a funk, and Ivanic as well. Ivanic, I mentioned before, it's been a really weird almost month and a half to 2 for him. He's still been producing, but it just hasn't been at the rate that we're kind of used to. So I want to see a little bit more from him. If we think about the last match against Ludogorets had injuries. Red Star had corona cases out the wazoo. A lot of guys missing for that match. Thankfully, we won 1-0, and if we look back on that match, it's a big win for Red Star. They don't get that, and they're in a very serious position of not even qualifying and maybe fighting just for the Conference League with Ludogorets. But look, it's going to be a tough match. We played Ludogorets in years past, and I've talked about that as well. They're a tough customer, and they're going to play us hard, and I fully expect them to play hard in the last round, matchday 6 against Midtjylland, and give it their all. They have been struggling even in their domestic league now, but they really do have a lot of injuries. They have 5 or 6, players out of their starting 11 that are out. So they really have a lot to battle, and their coach said that they're coming to Belgrade and hopefully they're going to win. That's what he's hoping for, and I don't blame him. They really have nothing to lose with so many players out. I think both their center backs are out. It might be a little bit of a makeshift lineup, to tell you the truth. And like I said, I'm interested to see how Njegos Petrovic plays. I'm going to really follow him tomorrow because, again, he's a player that I feel I'm like on an island alone, where I think he just hasn't been given minutes this season, and it's very far-fetched for people to say, that the club wants to sell him. It's always the easiest thing to do, just sell a guy. And we'll see if Stanic comes on as well, another very young player, 20 years old, kind of the future of this club. But we'll see what happens. I fully expect Red Star to win this match. We really need this win. If we don't, it's going to get crazy in that last match day against Braga. So let me know your predictions below, and enjoy the game.